to the lesson. Today I'm looking at the wah pedal and suggesting some ways that you might want to try and use it. This is aimed at people who maybe have just got a wah pedal, don't know what to do with it, or just really to give you some fresh ideas, because often you kind of get a wah pedal, you mess about with it until you come up with something you like, and that's it. This is generally aimed at people that have got some playing experience, because I'm going to be coming at it from a funk perspective, so I'm going to be dealing with some kind of 16th note patterns with the right hand. So if that's not something you're familiar with, then it might be worth popping back and looking at some tutorials to kind of understand that lingo, to save me sort of explaining it as I go. The wah pedal, the one I'm using today, is just a Crybaby that I've had for many years. I've had since I was, well, God knows, I think it was my first effects pedal, and it's worked forever and they work brilliantly. Occasionally they need a little bit of WD-40 to stop them creaking, but it seems to work perfectly well to me. There are thousands of wah pedals on the market, literally, I would imagine, and obviously everybody from Steve Vai to Hendrix to Stevie Ray to Kirk Hammett, everybody uses them. Really cool effect, but I'm certainly coming at it from more of a kind of funky perspective than I am from a lead sort of Metallica style wailing perspective. So I'm just going to go through some ideas and kind of suggest some ways that it might be useful for you, and just some way to get started really. So I'm going to start with the classic 16th note funk pattern. So that's my right hand playing what we would call 16th notes. So that's just going 1 E under, 2 E under, 3 E under, 4 E under, and that's keeping going. And your left hand is providing a mute just over the strings like that. Okay, and that just means you get the dead sound. Now with my foot, which has obviously got the wah pedal at the moment switched on, I'm going to go from back to fourth. Now the wah pedal is just essentially a filter. It's like an old envelope, so that when we have our heel down to the floor, we get the wah, and as we move forward with the toe coming down, we get the wah, like that. So we get wah, like that. That's where it comes from. It's basically just a filter and the sound gets moved, and it's kind of, I think, inspired by trumpet players who would use the mute trumpet, and brass players that would use a mute. Similar sort of concept. So we've got a lot of bass when our heel's down, and we've got a little treble when our foot's down. Big difference, and between those we get a lovely filter. Alright, so that's where we're coming from. So with that in mind, I'm going to keep the right hand 16th pattern really loose. Again, I'm not going to go through kind of the rudiments of right hand funk technique at the moment, but just keep the hand, the wrist nice and loose, the left hand mute. I'm using a D7 chord today, pretty much exclusively. Just quickly, the D7 is voiced, what we would call a rootless D7 chord. F sharp on the 4th string, 4th fret, C on the 3rd string, 5th fret, D on the 3rd string, 2nd string, 3rd fret, and the A on the 5th fret, top E string. Alright, should sound something like that. Okay, so now what you're going to do is you're just keeping the right foot moving down, so you can hear my foot is coming down on beat 1. 1, 2, 3, 4. Very simple concept. Master that before you do anything else. So that starts going like that. Then I'm just going to play on the downbeat, or every other one, sorry. Now, the good bit is that your right hand can do anything it likes. Not that I can do it while I'm talking. So I might play da 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 da, or I might play da 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 da. Does sound like you're talking a bit, or maybe da 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 da. Something like that. You might notice I'm struggling to kind of talk and play, but there we go. So that's a great place to start. As long as your right foot is doing that, you can just pick the notes in between. Or you can just do that. Whatever. There's a load of variations that you come up with. So as ever, you've got to experiment with these things, try some different right hand patterns, try some different left hand movement, try it over a chord progression, just have some fun with it. It's a good place to start. Moving on from that, on the kind of funky front, classic funk kind of what you call a dotted rhythm. We're just going to play like, you know, you go, that's classic funk thing on beat 1. Okay, so if we start with something like that, and instead of just kind of going, see if I can do it, we're going to push the pedal down in time with the chord that you're playing. See, I try and do it, so, and then the rest is yeah, in time with the chord that I'm playing. So to do that, the foot just moves ever so slightly, and then you can start to mix it up. Like that, and mess around with that and see how you like that. Another thing that's quite popular is just the kind of ambient chord thing, which is just as it sounds, really just in the right hand, in the right foot, or left foot. So what I'm doing there is very kind of ambient, hitting the chord, and my foot's doing that in kind of free time. It can work, you know, in a number of places. It's not always suitable, but for some kind of ambient chords, if you like, it's quite a cool effect. So just have a little mess around with that, seeing if you can get, you know, some nice movement. That is quite a cool effect if you're playing sort of on your own, or you're playing kind of free time. Works really, really nice. Again, you look at things completely differently. You're just being, you know, completely making it up with the right foot, basically. And then on from that, to take to the next extreme, you can make your wah pedal sound a bit like a phaser. So if I took, like, you have to be quite a good right foot though. So if we go, okay, so what I'm doing with the right foot there is just moving it like that as nervously and as quickly as you can, and obviously in the same way that you would get the phaser. Obviously it's probably easier to use a phaser, to be honest, because it's going to be less aggro for your right foot. And if anybody can tell me where I've nicked those chords from, I'd be most grateful. Cool, okay, so there's another option for playing kind of clean. Again, it is an effect, you know, it's not something you're going to use all the time, unless you're Kirk Hammett, I suppose. But it is, you know, it's a very cool effect, and everybody kind of finds different uses for it. On from there, if I put a bit of overdrive on. Now, for me, the kind of approach that you would have with overdrive is very different. I think that realistically you would want to play with less movement with the right foot, because there's a lot going on anyway. You've got all the overdrive and all the noise. You don't necessarily want to have kind of all the wah-wah going all the time. So, you know, if you're playing kind of a... So I'm tending to move the foot just when I want to hear that wah. So I'm tending to keep it with the heel down so I get that bassier sound. Getting that kind of effect, which could be really, really cool. It really adds something to it. Putting the wah off is kind of... Now put it on. Get quite a nice cool sound. I quite like that. And then you can obviously kind of have it from a lead perspective. You can be a little bit, you know, you can really get it crying and kind of wailing at you. And again, you're kind of not really thinking about it too much. But if you took a phrase, like if you had a phrase which went, I don't know, a kind of classic phrase, or, you know, with the foot down. And then if I kind of allow that to talk, it can be quite effective. So instead, what you're doing for every note is basically putting the foot down, so you get you can hear the wah. So it sounds wah 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 wah, etc. Okay, so there's a few kind of things you can try out there. I think from a lead perspective as well, the kind of classic cliche is to take a repetitive riff like that and slowly push the foot down, so the heel stays up as you start, you go mental, and then your foot comes down. And you get that kind of filter sound. It's quite cool. So that's certainly something just to kind of try out, and something to have a bit of fun with, really. So those are just some ideas, some very quick ideas to get you started. Obviously there are some fantastic players that have used the wah. Steve Vai is one of my favourite. I think the way he uses the wah is really cool, really creative. He can make it talk. Audience is listening. Passion of Warfare. It's a great beginning bit where he has a conversation. Anyway. So yeah, go have some fun with the wah. Hope you've enjoyed it. Hope it's been useful. There'll be lots more vids coming the way, and I look forward to seeing you soon. Cheers.